Hey, Real Life Church family, thanks for taking a few minutes to connect with me today. First, I just want to say I'm just so thankful for each and every one of you. What a weird season this has been, but I'm just so thankful for each of you for being such an incredibly generous church. I just want to say, because of your generosity, we've been able to just take care of some amazing things. The business of the church, you can read about that in this update. But I want to say thank you so much for your generosity as we serve others. We've been more active in our benevolence help than we've been in a really, really long time, with the COVID season and just with the new dial back, we've been able to come alongside some people for some help with paying some medical bills, with rent assistance, taking care of groceries and food, and reaching a lot of people that are in our circles that are far from God, and just being Jesus. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for giving and being so generous. Because of your generosity, we're walking out our mission, and it's so exciting. We've been working really hard to put your gifts to work, and I'm just excited to celebrate you and celebrate your generosity. Well, for the last few weeks, you've heard me talk about Miracle Offering and talk about Sunday coming up on Sunday, December 20th. And I want to take a couple minutes to just kind of walk through my process in arriving at this step. It's a big step of faith for our church family. And I want you to understand my heartbeat behind it. And just to put it simply, it's not about fundraising. It's about unity and walking in mission with Jesus. This has been the hardest year I've ever experienced, and it's definitely been the hardest ministry season that I've ever experienced. Several weeks ago, we had North Central University President Scott Hagan with us, and he called it this. He said it was the Bermuda Triangle of difficult things that we've been navigating this year. We've been walking through just the tensions of COVID, and, waiting for a vaccine, and dial backs and shutdowns and wearing masks and all of the things. We've been walking through a season of social and racial tensions, just trying to figure out, how are we walking as Christ followers to love justice, to come alongside those who are hurting, reaching people who are far from God. And as well, we're coming off of, it's now, been 1 month since our national election. And in the middle of those tensions, we've been trying to do more than simply survive. We've been trying to walk out, what does it mean to thrive as Christ followers in this season? We've asked hard questions along the way of, what does it mean to be a Jesus-centered, others-focused, mission-minded church? And when I feel the Lord leading me to walk through the book of Haggai, I didn't know why we were heading into that book. I just knew that's where we were supposed to go. I mean, I knew the outline of the story. I knew the general principles that we'd be looking at, but I didn't realize how strongly that book would speak to me in the middle of these circumstances. In Haggai, and I'd encourage you, if you missed any of those weeks, go back and watch the series. The time is now. But in Haggai, the people of God had gotten their priorities out of alignment. They had stopped working on the temple reconstruction project that God had asked them to do, and taken all of the resources and energies that were meant to be a physical representation of God here on earth, and reallocated all of those resources to their own lives. They stopped building God's house and they went to work building their house. And instead of obeying what God asked them to do, they turned their attention inwards and were focusing on themselves. And at the end of this email that you're reading today, you'll see the financial numbers as we've been reporting those as often as we can. And I think you'll be as encouraged as I am. I mean, we've been taking care of the needs of the house, to put it that way. The ministry needs are being met. All of the numbers are healthy. It's been amazing. We're in a good spot financially. God's provision for his church and for the ministry that's happening through it has just been awesome. I say it this way all the time. God's provision through your generosity are taking care of the ministry needs here at the church. And I'm so thankful for that. But in the middle of this Bermuda Triangle, I'll play off that. In the middle of this Bermuda Triangle season, it can be so easy, in a season of crisis, it's so easy to turn our attention inwards. And actually, several years ago, it's part of the history of our church. We were in a really hard state financially. I mean, every month our board was meeting together. How are we going to make it? How are we going to make it? How are we going to make it? There was, back in 2014, there was one year where the church had to recover from being $80,000 in the red. I mean, it was a really hard season, and everything turned inwards. But as we focused on who we are as a church, and as we focused on being that Jesus-centered, others-focused church, he's really poured out blessing. And it's been amazing to see what happens when we walk in obedience. So this year, as we've been walking through this, and we've been walking through this crisis since early March, it's really easy for tensions, for division, for the crisis of the moment to take priority and take precedent. And it can start seeping in and changing the core of who we are as a church family. And so it's been really hard to see that over these last several months. But instead of focusing on that, yes, that's the reality. That's what we've been dealing with. But instead of focusing on that, what I want to do is rally us around the call we have as a church family. The most unifying thing that we have is our mission to reach people for Jesus. And Miracle Offering on December 20th is an expression of that unity. It's a ridiculously tangible way for us to walk that out. Instead of just looking at how we're going to take care of our needs, we're going to ask God what we can do to help serve others around us. So just a few details here. You can read more about it in the text of the email here. But one question that I received, every penny that is coming in for Miracle Offering is going to go right back out the doors to partner and come alongside some amazing local ministry partners. You can read the list of those 5 partners that we've put here in the email. We've provided links so you can read more about them, so you can see who we're coming alongside. But my goal is this. I think it's a crazy big, audacious, God-given goal. He wants to do something miraculous in us, that we partner with these 5 local ministry partners at the level of $10,000 each, so a total of $50,000 for Miracle Offering. That's what I believe God is asking us to do. And you hear me say this often. This is who we are, and this is what we do. Well, who are we? We're a Jesus-centered, others-focused, mission-minded church that want to make a difference in the lives of people around us. And what do? These are our core values. We follow, we obey the voice of God and do what he's asking us to do. And what do? We give. It's right to the core of who we are, is we give. We believe it's more blessed to give than it is to receive. So instead of taking care of our needs, we're going to give irrationally, generously, and watch what God does with that obedience. We give because we believe it's more blessed to give than to receive. And because we will lead the way, the church gets to lead the way in spirit-led, irrational generosity. We get to do this in a big, miraculous way on Sunday, December 20th for Miracle Offering. Here's what I'm asking you to do. Ask God. Don't ask me. I'm not asking you to give. I'm asking you to ask God and then obey what he tells you to do. Ask God what your obedience looks like for Miracle Offering. Oftentimes through Scripture, we see God take every kind of size of gift and use them to reach people. I believe that's what's going to happen at Miracle Offering. We bring our gifts, we bring our obedience, and we bring our sacrifice, and all of those things together, God does something amazing. Equal obedience, equal sacrifice, but different gifts. So thanks for connecting with me today. Thank you for being the most amazing church family that I know. And thanks for just committing to do this one thing, committing with me to pray and follow God and living in that open-handed, others-focused, miraculous kind of way. Church family, I love you. Thank you so much. God bless each of you as you walk out being irrationally generous.